Only 98 people have joined. Something which I want to address in today's class. If the class is at 8:30, I expect everyone to be present before 8:30 and not join after 8:30. Okay, let me anyway start. Right. So in the last class, we were discussing about a rectifier circuit called as a half-wave rectifier, right? We saw that it is successful in converting an AC signal to a DC, but again, the DC, what you end up getting is what we generally call as a pulsating DC, because you're not getting a constant value. You're not getting a value which is independent of time, right? I mean, it varies with time, but again, it varies only at certain intervals. Okay, so that's something that we saw in the last class. In today's class, we'll look at a full wave rectifier. But before we look at a full wave rectifier, it's very important. See, in circuit design, it's very important for you to ask, say you are designing any circuit, okay? It does not matter which circuit you're designing. If you're designing any circuit, the first thing which should come to your mind is, what are the parameters associated with the circuit? How would you say if your circuit is good or bad? On what basis? The first thing, I mean, in layman terms, you can identify if the circuit is good or bad is first you do the circuit on paper. We know how a half-wave rectifier output waveform should look like, right? The half-wave rectifier output waveform should look something like this. We know that, right? If it looks like this and you are happy, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have successfully designed a good circuit. Okay, so there will be parameters associated with every circuit. Okay, so for example, for a half-wave rectifier, there are certain parameters which are very important to, to know if your circuit design is good or not. Okay, so maybe you can take down the parameters associated with the half-wave rectifier. Please write down of of any kind of rectifier. Okay, there are these parameters are very important. Okay, the first parameter is peak inverse voltage. We'll look at why we are looking at all these parameters. Okay, whenever I tell that these parameters are important, of course we have to look at what is the importance of this parameter and how is this affecting your circuit. Okay, peak inverse voltage. Okay, since you're using a diode, it is very important that when you're using a diode in the circuit, you should ensure that the diode does not go into reverse saturation condition. Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, then we look at what is the output frequency. So another important parameter to check if your rectifier, the rectifier parameter is output frequency. Okay, first is peak inverse voltage, also popularly called as PIV. Okay, then the output frequency. Then you have to look at what is the rectifier efficiency. In the sense, how much of DC output you are getting for the given AC input in terms of percentage. Of course, it's an important parameter, right? Because you're trying to convert an AC signal to a DC output, right? So it's very important to know what is the rectifier efficiency. Efficiency in the sense, how much of the AC input is converted to DC. Okay, so again, a very important parameter. Then another important parameter is what we call as average value. Average value, or it can also be called as DC value. What is the DC value at the output? Say you have a multimeter, maybe in your 12th or so, in your second PU or whatever you call it. Have you ever seen a multimeter, a measurement of voltage and current together along with the resistors? Have you seen a multimeter? It looks something like this. It has some probes and you have a control here so that you have currents, voltages. I mean, it can, I mean, depending upon where this knob is pointing, that value can be measured. Have you ever seen a multimeter? You'll have two probes coming out of this.
Yes, sir, we have seen.
Okay, some of you might have seen. Anyone who hasn't seen a multimeter in the class? Because it's important for me to understand if you have seen or not.
Sir.
Okay, if everyone has seen it, then in the multimeter, you have volt, a marking called as volt. Okay, it will have RMS value and another volt would be a DC value. Okay, now if you're using this voltmeter to check what is the output voltage of the half wave rectifier, let me connect the voltmeter across RL to check what is the output voltage. Okay, and my knob is at DC. What is the voltage which the multimeter would display? Okay, because I mean, it would give what is the DC value. Higher the average value or higher the DC value, the better your rectifier would be, right? Higher the DC value, it means that there is a higher conversion of AC to DC. Am I right? Common sense, no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we look at something called as an average value or a DC value. There is one more called as RMS value, root mean square value. You look at what is the root mean square value of the output. Do you know what is RMS, root mean square? Have you heard about this earlier? I'm sure you would have. Do you know what is an RMS, root mean square? I'm waiting for a response. Should I wait longer?
The square root of the mean value of the voltage.
No. Are you aware of a term called as root mean square? RMS? Have you heard about this earlier in your earlier courses?
Yes.
No, yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So we check what is the RMS value also. I'll come to what is an RMS and its importance because you already know. In any case, since you did not respond well, I'll tell you what is the importance of RMS also. Okay, so we look at all these parameters. Okay, so for any rectifier, I mean for the half wave rectifier, what you have designed, you have to have a peak inverse voltage. There should be a peak inverse voltage. There should be an output frequency. There is a rectifier efficiency. There is an average value and there is a RMS value. Okay, we look at average value and RMS value first, and then we'll go to the other three parameters later. Again, output frequency straightforward. What do you think is the output frequency of the half wave rectifier? How would you calculate an output frequency? Maybe in layman terms, if I ask you what is the frequency, look at how is it repeating, right? So if this is T by 2, this is T. You know what is the input, right? So the repetition is happening till T, right? So the output frequency is same as the input frequency. Even input waveform, repeats till t, 0, t by 2, t. The same repetition happens, right? In the same way here, the output also, the repetition occurs beyond t, right? So till t it is same, it keeps on repeating the same thing over and over again, right? So output frequency is straightforward. Output frequency same as your input frequency. Okay, so one parameter we have already found out. The output frequency of the half wave rectifier is same as your input frequency. F out equals Fn. Please write it. Important. For a half wave rectifier, output frequency and input frequency are exactly same. Okay. Now it is important to find out or to calculate the average value of a half wave rectifier output and the RMS value of the half wave rectifier output. Okay, let us do that. So first, let us find out what is the average value. Just hold on. Yeah. Right. So average value, V average voltage is given by 1 by T integral 0 to T V of T dt. Okay, this is the formula for average value or DC value. Do you know what is an average value? Have you heard about this in your earlier courses?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Okay, so for a half wave rectifier output, so if this is how the output looks like, I'm going to redraw it all over again. Consider it to be an ideal one. Okay, so when I tell ideal, the diode is ideal. So it's easier for me to write in the formula and substitute. Okay, I can do the modification later whenever I need an ideal, non-ideal condition. The peak value is Vm, right? Right. So from 0 to T by 2, it behaves differently. From T by 2 to T, it behaves in some other way, right? So I need to write what is V of T. What is V of T?
Sir, are you drawing something?
Yes, yes. Can't you see it?
No, it's
No,
How about now?
no, sir.
No, sir.
Can you see the slide?
No, sir. Sir, it's stuck.
No.
the slide is visible, sir. 9.
Oh, okay. I'm already in slide 11. My goodness. Just a second, okay? Just please hold on. How about now?
Yes, sir.
It's visible? Yeah. So again, I'll repeat since you're seeing the slide. So average value formula is V average equals 1 by T, 0 to T, V of T dt. Okay. Again, I'm reconfirming. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Slide number 11.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So your half wave rectifier output would look something like this, right? So if we are considering the half wave rectifier or the diode is an ideal one, you end up getting from 0 to T by 2, V of T would be Vm sine omega T. Can you see me writing on the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Vm sine omega T. This is from time period 0 to t by 2 and 0 from t by 2 till t. So isn't this how the output of the half wave rectifier looks like? If you consider that the diode is ideal, this is your V of t, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that you are copying this down, because these things, if I just put a slide for it, in your textbook, there is no derivation for average value. Okay, I'm deriving it here. So I want you to copy these things down in a notebook. Because one fine day, if you open your notebook just before your test or quiz or exam, you will ponder how are you going to get the average value of whatever is got. Okay, so let's do the derivation. We'll substitute this V of t here in the V average formula and try to find out what is the average value of the half wave rectifier. When I tell average value, I obviously mean the average output value. Again, we are checking at the output side, right? I'm not concerned about the input now. Right. So I'll substitute V average equals 1 by t integral 0 to t by 2. It is Vm sine omega t dt plus 0, right? Because in the second half cycle, that is from t by 2 to t, you know it is 0, right? So I need to integrate only this t by 2 Vm sine omega t dt. Let's do the integration, substitute the limits, and find out what is the average value of the half wave rectifier. I hope you're copying it down. I am in slide 12. I hope you can see what I've written. Confirm, please.
Yes, sir. You can
Great.
see.
Yes, sir.
I'm moving on to slide 13. I will do the integration. Since you have written it in the notebook, you should be able to do. So I take Vm outside. So Vm by t, and I do the integration. Sine omega t integration would give you what? Integration of sine omega t is?
Minus cos omega t.
Minus
Sir,
cos
omega
omega.
minus
Omega
omega
t
cos.
into omega. Minus omega cos omega t. So,
Limits is 0 to t by 2. And what is omega? Omega is 2 pi by t, right? I'll substitute omega as 2 pi by t here. What do I get? Vm. I take omega outside also, okay? Omega, I mean Vm divided by t into omega. Omega I'm taking outside the limit, so it would be 2 pi by t minus cos, I'll resubstitute here, 2 pi by t into t 0 to t by 2. I've just substituted omega as 2 pi by t in here. Okay, I'll rewrite by substituting the limits in the next slide. Am I right? Is this right? Is this right?
yes, sir.
All right. All right. I'll move on to the next slide. Shall I move on? Have you copied this down?
1 minute, sir.
Yeah. Since it's the initial class, I'm deriving it. Okay. Later, I expect you to do this high school math. High school math, right? All right, I'll move on. By the way, some of you might have already derived. What did you get the answer to be?
Vm by pi.
VM by pi.
Of course, right? So you end up getting Vm divided by 2 pi because capital T and capital T gets cancelled, and you have minus cos 2 pi. Now I'm substituting the limits by t into t by 2 minus of minus cos 0. What is cos pi?
-1.
-1. And what is cos 0? Cos 0.
1, sir.
So since this is minus, so you end up getting 2 here, right? So 2 and 2 gets cancelled. End up getting the answer to be Vm by pi. Very important for a half wave rectifier. If someone asks what is the average value, you should not derive this. You should tell it is Vm by pi. If someone asks you what is 12 times 3, you don't use your calculator and do 3 into 2 first and then 3 into 1, right? In the same way, of course, you should know how you are arriving 12 times 3 as whatever the answer it is, right? In the same way, you should, of course, know the derivation of this. But if someone asks you what is the average value of a half wave rectifier, you should tell it is Vm by pi without doing the derivation. All right, and what is Vm? Vm is the
Mean value.
peak, the maximum input value, the peak input value. Now, of course, you know that the diode is not an ideal one. So what is the answer that you would get? You would end up getting Vm minus 0.7 divided by pi would be the average value, the practical average value that you would end up getting. Is it clear? You're not going to get the full Vm there. You will end up getting Vm minus 0.7 divided by pi. But ideally, you should remember it as Vm by pi. This is the average value that you would get. Say, for example, if you give an input, let me explain that. So if you're giving an input with a peak to peak of 10 volts, when I tell peak to peak of 10 volts, this is what I mean. I'm in slide number 15. I hope you can see.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if this is the peak to peak, this is plus 5 volts and this is minus 5 volts, right? So Vm is plus 5 volts. Vm is 5 volts. So the output that you end up getting, the average value of when you feed this into a half wave rectifier, the output average value would be 5 divided by pi. And pi is not 180 degree, okay? When you're entering into your calculator, you have to ensure that it is in radians. All right. This is the average value of your half wave rectifier. How much is 5 by pi?
1.59.
So you wanted, see, ideally speaking, what you wanted was the end goal is to ensure that you get an output of DC value which looks like this. Okay, it should be a constant value. Maybe in the first half cycle for it to get charged, it will take some time. But later on, you should get a constant value. But unfortunately, you are getting only 1.59 volts as the DC voltage. instead of you getting 5 volts. And anyways, that's a pulsating DC, right? You have to qualitatively understand also, not only do the math. So much loss, no? Where is 5 volts? Where is 1.59 volts? Too much difference, right? So this is what you, this is how you calculate the average value, okay, or DC value of any circuit. Okay, you know the formula. You apply the V of t depending upon what is how your output looks like, and you find out what is the average value. Next, we look at what is the RMS value of the half wave rectifier. Okay, so I'll reiterate. The average value of a half wave rectifier is Vm by pi. Okay, now we are looking at what is the RMS value. What is RMS? Root mean square. Why do you look at the RMS value? Why is RMS such an important parameter? Anyone?
It produces the same heat as DC.
Can you please expand it? I mean, in the sense, can you please tell me why do you even compare AC and DC there? Who told this? Who told this?
So Shubhangi.
Yes, Shushma. Shushma, can you please tell why are you comparing AC and DC values? What is the need to compare AC and DC values? AC is happy doing its function, DC is happy doing its function. Why do you want to compare them? Shushma, is my question clear? I hope you understood the question. Did you understand the question?
Yes, I did. But
It's okay. It's all right. I mean, anyone else? At least Shushma told almost right answer. I mean, it's a right answer, but I still want to. I want her to implore why she told that. Anyone else? Why is RMS? I'm not asking what is an RMS value. Okay, that is different. I am asking why do people calculate RMS? Root mean square value. No idea. Very bad. Okay, let me not put any value there. Okay, let me ask you a question. Can you tell me what is the power dissipated at the load of this circuit? I hope you can see me drawing the circuit. I am in slide number 16, right? So can you tell me what is P?
V square by RS.
Or you can find out, you can tell in terms of I. It doesn't matter. It is I square into R or V square by R, right? Am I right? Very
Yes, sir.
easy to get because it's a DC value, right? So this can be a constant 2 volts, 5 volts, anything. Now, if I ask you the same question, this is power, okay? Power is easy. I mean, power calculation is different. The heat dissipated is P times what? What is the relationship between heat dissipation and power? Anyone?
E times T, sir.
Excellent. So the heat dissipation, typically RMS values I mean, defined in terms of heat dissipation. Okay. So P times T would give you the heat dissipated in this particular circuit, the amount of heat which dissipates in any electronic circuit, any electronic component gadget you think of, there will be a heat dissipation, right? You touch the electronic gadget, you will know. You have a laptop, obviously the laptop will dissipate heat. You have a mobile phone, it dissipates heat, right? Now, what is an RMS value? RMS value, I mean, why do you even look at RMS values? When I ask you what is the power of this circuit, right here, there will be a constant value of 2 volts or 5 volts or so on and so forth. But here, since I'm using a sinusoidal waveform, the voltage is not constant. No, the voltage keeps on changing with respect to the time. Right? So it is very difficult for me. I mean, there is a way to find out what is the power. It is not a rocket science, but you need another parameter in such a way that you define something called as an RMS value. So when I tell that the RMS value of this circuit, VRMS, is say 2 volts, what I mean is when the VRMS value of this circuit is 2 volts, it would dissipate the same power as the circuit above it. When you give a power supply of 2 volts, I mean, DC voltage of 2 volts. Let me repeat it again. Okay. I'll repeat it again. So when you calculate the RMS value for any AC signal, why you're doing it is you are trying to compare it with the DC signal so that the amount of heat dissipation in both remains the same. All right. That's the reason you find out what is the RMS value. Okay. And how do you calculate an RMS value? As the name suggests, it is root mean square. So when you have a sinusoidal waveform, something like this, what is the RMS value from, say, let me ask, this point to this point? What you do, you separate it into multiple subpoints. Okay. And you then find out what are these points, then square these points. Say, let me say, I segregate this into 10 points. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, these are the points. I write the values, the voltages at all these points. Say it is from it, if it is 0 to 5 volts. Let me start from first is 0 anyways, that I ignore. Then at 1 volt, then at 1.5, at 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. These are the values that I take. Maybe 10 values I take. I'm just telling a random example. Okay. I take these values. Then what do? I square them. Square of 1 is 1. Square of 1.5 is 1.5. The whole square, you know, it is 2.25. This is 4. The square of 2.5 is, you get a value, 6.25. Right? So on and so forth. I square it. Then what do? I add them together and take a mean, which is 1 plus 1.5 whole square plus 4 plus 6.25 plus 9 plus so on and so forth divided by 10, because 10 is the number of samples I've taken. And then whatever answer that I get, I take a square root. So it is root mean square. Why do I do it? Because I want to compare it with the DC value to end up getting the same power dissipation which happened in a DC when you give a DC voltage. Okay. It would take a separate class for me to explain why RMS value is important, but I hope you understood what is an RMS value. Okay. So let us find out what is the RMS value for the half wave rectifier that you have. Okay. So let us find out VRMS for half wave rectifier. The formula is square root of 1 by t, 0 to t, v square t dt. I am in slide number 18. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I can rewrite this as V RMS square equals 1 by T integral 0 to T V square of T dt. And you know the definition of V of T for a half wave rectifier. What is the definition of V of T for a half wave rectifier? It is V of T equals Vm sine omega T in the interval 0 to T by 2 and 0 in the interval T by 2 to T. Right? I substitute this in this equation. Shall I move on to the next slide? It's already 9:08. Please copy it down quickly. Shall I proceed to the next slide?
Sir.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yes.
So it would look like, please don't wait for me to do the integration if you're confident, okay? I'm doing it for people who can't. I will not be too excited if you get the value. You should get the value answer, okay? You're bound to get the answer. So I've substituted, all right? So the limits is 0 to T by 2, because from T by 2 to T, it is anyway 0. So I'll take Vm square outside, Vm square by T, 0 to T by 2, sine square omega T dt. How would you write sine square x as? Sine square x can be written as
1 minus cos x by 2.
1 minus cos 2x by 2, right? Not 1 minus cos x. 1 minus cos 2x by 2, right? So you substitute that here. Okay, so you end up getting Vm square by 2t integral 0 to T by 2, because I took 2 outside. 1 minus cos 2x by 2, I've taken this 2 outside, okay? So you end up getting 1 minus cos 2 omega T dt. Now I do the integration. T minus sine 2 omega T divided by 2 omega 0 to T by 2. I'll substitute the limits. What did you get after substituting the limits? Anyone found out the answer?
Vm square by 4, sir.
That is VRMS square, right? So what would VRMS be?
Vm by 2.
Excellent. T by 2 minus sine 4 pi by T into T by 2 divided by 2 omega minus 0 plus sine 0 by 2 omega. This is straightforward. Right?
Sir, once you please go to the previous slide, sir. There is a glitch and it got stuck at.
I don't know who told this. I couldn't hear you. Someone told something now.
Sir, could you please go to the 20th slide, sir?
Okay. Is there any error?
No, sir. No, sir.
You just wanted to copy it?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, come on. Integration you should do. I'm doing it for your reference, okay? I expect you to do this. All right. You have crossed the age where you should be knowing how to do integration. All right. So you end up getting Vm square by 2t into T by 2. right? So T and T is cancelled. You end up getting Vm square by 4, and that is Vrms square. So Vrms square, you are getting it as Vm square by 4. So what is Vrms? Vrms equals Vm by 2. Very, very important. So the RMS value of your half wave rectifier is Vm by 2. Ideally, practically it is Vm minus 0.7 by 2. In your textbook, only the half wave rectifier average value, I mean RMS value will be given as Vm by 2. Now it is up to you to break your head to find out how it is. To help you in breaking your head, I have done the derivation, okay? I'll tell you what is the moral of the story. The moral of the story are the two values which you need to remember. I don't care if you know how to do the derivation. Obviously, you should know how to do the derivation because in the Viva, I will ask you to derive. Okay, we have a separate component for Viva, right? Of course, I want you to know how you arrived at the equation, but the end goal is the final values. At least you should know the final values. So if someone asks you what is the RMS value of a half wave rectifier, you should, without blinking your eyes, you should tell it is Vm by 2. How if they ask, you should be able to do the derivation, of course. Okay. Examination point of view, obviously you should, by now you should know that no one is going to ask you to derive a half wave rectifier or a full wave rectifier average value or an RMS value in your question paper. Because we know that you can directly take from the notes and copy it, right? They're not going to ask you that. But as curious people, as human beings, we are curious, right? As animals, we are curious, right? So obviously, you should know these derivations, okay? Am I clear? So we
Yes.
have found out what is average value and what is RMS value, okay? There are two other things, something called as a peak inverse voltage and rectifier efficiency. I'll define what is a rectifier efficiency and I'll continue in the next class. Rectifier efficiency you define as, please copy it. Efficiency of a rectifier is defined as DC output power divided by AC input power. How good your rectifier, you can find out by using this formula, I mean the efficiency formula, DC output power by AC input power, okay? For a half wave rectifier, you end up getting it as 40.6%. I'll do the derivation in the next class, okay? But as of now, since we have only some time, you write this down, we'll derive it in the next class. All right? So you end up getting only 40.6%. Okay, then I'll just draw the diagram for a full wave rectifier because we only have 5 minutes. Okay, I'll just explain it quickly in case if you have any doubts or so on and so forth. We'll continue in the next class. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
No, I am still continuing. Who told thank you? I'm still continuing. I'll finish full wave rectifier explanation. Okay. Please copy this down. Write the heading as full wave rectifier. Sorry, this is incorrect. Write the heading as full wave rectifier and copy this circuit down. Have you seen this orange block before? What is that?
Transform.
Transformer.
Okay. Hmm. Am I too fast or too slow? Is it okay? Is the speed okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, I hope you've copied this down. What is that 1:2?
Turns ratio.
It's the turns ratio. And what does it mean? When I give, say, 5 volts as the input voltage.
Step up, sir.
It will be double the input.
It will be double across this entire thing, right? So you know that, right? Okay. So since the transformer ratio or the turns ratio is given as 1:2, let us say we are discussing the positive half cycle, okay? So this would be Vn and this would be Vn. I'll just erase this and rewrite again. Now, what I have drawn is a center tapped full wave rectifier. I'll explain why it's called center tapped full wave rectifier. You can see the transformer being tapped at the center. By tapped, what I mean is I've grounded at the center. Okay, this is center tapped full wave rectifier. There is another kind of full wave rectifier which we'll cover, but this is one kind of full wave rectifier. Now, since the turns ratio is 1:2, if you give 5 volts across the entire transformer from this point to this point, you will end up getting 10 volts. Now, that is divided as plus minus, if we are in positive half cycle, plus minus V in and plus minus V in. Am I right? Am I right? If you get 10 volts across the secondary winding of the transformer, now that is, since it is center tapped, it is equally divided as plus 5 volts and plus 5 volts here. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me continue in the next class. Okay. Thank you. If you have any doubts till now, please feel free to ask. I'll be there for a minute.